See if Kaidan can set up a tent here.
Oh, we should get cozy by a campfire. It's bloody cold.
Right. Can you build a campfire? See, this is
No
weird.
worries.
He's just gonna build a campfire when it's cold, I guess. Which is nice, but I mean, it'd be better if I were able to just maneuver.
What's on your mind?
To get there.
You alright? Aye, we ought to make camp. I'll pitch a tent for you anytime, sweetheart.
Okay, so yeah, I've just done a lot
alright.
of swimming in cold water, so yeah, I am cold. It looks like that's his tent. Okay. A little weird, but gonna work. So yeah, I don't need a bath because I was just swimming in ultra frigid water. Sit spots here are kind of weird. You have to like run around them and try to find them. Okay. It's only a chair
Always
right in that
surprises
spot.
me how much bigger it is on the inside than the out. Nice little tent though.
That's awesome. Okay. Proper lock design. By unknown. I've encountered many thieves whose sole interest in locks is how to open them, and thereby pilfer the protected contents of the room or chest. I've taken upon myself to devise a system of locks that can defeat such villainous intent. Materials used to create a lock are of utmost importance. Shoddy brass or copper will give way to a well-placed kick, thereby rendering the lock itself useless. I recommend steel over iron when choosing a material. More robust materials tend to be prohibitively expensive and necessitate the door being made of similar metals. I've been chagrined to stumble across the shattered shell of a wooden chest, its dwarven lock intact and still locked. Once these basics are settled, pay particular attention to the offset of the tumblers. A 7-degree offset to the keyhole will allow a torque-style key to work smoothly, while at the same time causing numerous headaches for the thief attempting to insert non-torque lockpicks. In similar fashion, springs of the tumbler should be made by different smiths. Each smith will unknowingly create a spring with different tension than his fellow smiths. This variance will also create difficulties for anyone attempting to pick the lock. Purloined Shadows by Wayland Joff. Chapter 1. The candle was lit, and the thief was standing there, blinking, caught. She was young, rather dirty, wearing ragged black clothes that were surely quite smart and expensive weeks ago when she'd stolen them from one of the city's best tailors. The look of surprise slipped from her face, and she took on a blank expression as she put the gold back on the table. "What are you doing here?" the man with the candle asked, stepping from the shadows. "That's a stupid question," the girl replied, frowning. "I'm obviously robbing you." "Since nothing I have is missing," the man smiled, glancing at the gold on the table, "I would have to say that you're not robbing me. Attempting to rob me, perhaps. The question I have is, why? You know who I am, I assume. You didn't just come in through an unlocked door." "I've stolen from everyone else. I've taken soul gems from the Mage Guild. I've robbed the treasury of the most secure fortress. I cheated the Archbishop of Julianus. I even pickpocketed the Emperor Pelagius at his coronation. I thought it was your turn." "I'm flattered," the man nodded. "Now that your ambition has been thwarted, what will you do? Flee? Perhaps retire?" "Teach me," the girl replied, a little grin finding its way unconsciously on her face. "I picked all your locks. I slipped past all your wards. You designed them. You know how difficult that was for someone without training. I didn't come here for 6 gold pieces. I came here to prove myself. Make me your student." The Master of Stealth looked at the little girl burglar. "Your skill is not in need of training. Your planning is adequate, but I can help you with that. What is without hope is your ambition. You are past stealing for your livelihood. Now you steal for the pleasure of it, for the challenge. That's a personality trait which is incurable and will lead you to an early grave." Haven't you ever wanted to steal that which can't be stolen? The girl asked. Something that would make your name known forever? The master did not answer. He only frowned. Clearly, I was fooled by your reputation. She shrugged and opened a window. I thought you might want a willing accomplice and some great act of thievery which would go down in history. Like you said, my skill and planning is only adequate. I didn't have in mind an escape route, but this will have to do. The burglar slipped down the sheer wall, dashing across the shadowy courtyard, and within a few minutes was back at her room in the rundown tavern. The master was waiting for her there, in the dark. I didn't see you go past me. You turned on the street when you heard the owl call. The most important tool in the thieves' repertoire is distraction, either planned or improvised. Suppose your lessons have begun. And what is the final test? The girl smiled. When he told her, she could only stare. She had, it seemed, not misunderstood his reputation for daring. Not at all. Chapter 2. For the week leading up to the 8th of Hearthfire, the skies above Rindale were dark and olive and alive as clouds of crows blotted out the sun. Their guttural squawks and groans deafened all. The peasants wisely bolted their doors and windows, praying to survive the most unholy of days. On the night of the summoning, the birds fell silent, their black, unblinking eyes following the witch's march into the glen. There were no moons to light the way, only the leader's single torch in the gloom. Their white robes appeared as indistinct shapes, like the faintest of ghosts. A single tall tree stood in the middle of the clearing, every branch thick with crows, watching the procession without moving. The lead witch placed the torch at the base of the tree, and her 17 followers formed a circle, and began their slow, strange, wailing chant. As they sang, the glow of the torch began to change. It did not diminish at all, but its color became more and more gray, so it seemed a pulsating wave of ash had fallen on the witches. Then it grew darker still, so that for a moment, though the fire yet burned, it was darkest night in the forest. The penumbra continued until the torch was burning with a color without a name, emptiness beyond mere blackness. It cast a glow, but it was an unnatural scintillation falling on the witches. Their robes of white became black. The Dunmer among them had eyes of green and ivory white flesh. The Nords appeared black as coal. The crows watching overhead were as pure white as the witches' cloaks. The Daedra Princess Nocturnal stepped out of the pit of uncolor. She stood in the center of the circle, the tree of pallid crows, her throne, aloof, as the witches continued their chanting, dropping their robes to prostrate themselves naked before their great mistress. Wrapping her night cloak around her, she smiled at their song. It spoke of her mystery, of veiled beauty, of eternal shadows and a divine future when the sun burns no more. Nocturnal let her cloak slide from her shoulders and was naked. Her witches did not raise their heads from the ground, but continued their hymn of darkness. Now, said the girl to herself. She'd been up in a tree all day, dressed in a ridiculous suit of mock crows. It was uncomfortable, but when the witches had arrived, she forgot all her aches and concentrated on being perfectly still, like the other crows in the tree. It had taken considerable planning and study between her and the Master of Stealth to find the glen and to learn what to expect in the summoning of Nocturnal. Gently, silently, the burglar eased herself down the branches of the tree, coming closer and closer to the Daedra Princess. She let herself break her concentration for just a moment and wondered where the master was. He had been confident in the plan. He said that when Nocturnal dropped her cloak, there would be a distraction, and it could be quickly taken in that instant provided the girl was in position at the precise right moment. The girl climbed along the lowest of branches, carefully pushing aside the crows that were, as the master said, transfixed by the princess in her naked beauty. The girl was now close enough if she only reached out her arm to touch Nocturnal's back. The song was rising to a crescendo, and the girl knew that the ceremony would soon be over. Nocturnal would clothe herself before the witches ended the chant, and the chance to take the cloak would be over. The girl gripped the tree branch tightly as her mind raced. Could it be that the master was not here at all? Was this conceivably the entire test? Was it only to show that it could be done, not to do it? The girl was furious. She had done everything perfectly, but the so-called Master of Stealth had proven himself a coward. Perhaps he had taught her a little in the months that it took to plan this, but what was it worth? Only one thing made her smile. On that night, when she had stolen into his stronghold, she had kept one single gold piece, and he had never suspected it. It was symbolic as symbolic as stealing the cloak of Nocturnal in its way, proving that the master thief could be robbed. The girl was so lost in her mind that she thought she imagined it for a moment when a man's voice yelled out from the darkness, "Mistress!" The next word she knew she didn't imagine. "Mistress, a thief behind you!" The witches raised their heads and screamed, ruining the sanctity of the ceremony as they charged forward. The crows awoke and burst from the tree in an explosion of feathers and toad-like cries. Nocturnal herself whirled around, affixing the girl with her black eyes. "Who art thee who dares profane?" the princess hissed as the pitched shadows flew from her body, enveloping the girl in their lethal chill. In the last instant before she was swallowed alive by the darkness, the girl looked to the ground and saw that the cloak was gone. And she answered, as she understood, "Oh, who am I?" "I'm the distraction." "Hello, Petey love. Yes, you are the best." He's got a little helicopter tail. It doesn't really go back and forth. It just kind of spins. "Hello, baby. Just take a nap, okay? Pet you, scratch you. Good boy. Good boy. You're a good boy, Petey. I love you so much." Okay, I got a high snack there. I want to do a sandwich for the hunter, like right now. Let's go do it. Let's go get a sandwich for the hunter. Let's do it. Oh.
Darling.
Can you pack up the campsite?
Ugh, gonna need to restitch that seam when we come tonight. Won't be holding if we get bad weather.
Thank you for being vigilant about so many things. You're awesome. Okay. Hey, bunny.
Come on in. Just stoked the fire. Take a seat and get the cold out. Hello. Welcome to the Wind Peak Inn, the home of the best Horker sandwich in all of Skyrim.
I saw your flyer and was hoping to get my friend a sandwich.
By friend, I suppose you mean Kaidan. In that case, no.
No. Seriously? Don't you think this is getting a little ridiculous?
Well, the truth is I'm out of Horker. Just please don't tell him that. Last thing this town needs is another stampede, because of him being hungry.
What if we did some hunting for you? Would you make him a sandwich then?
Tell you what. You bring me 10 slabs of Horker meat without a single Horker stampeding through town, and I'll make Kaidan a sandwich. Just this once.
Oh, wow, I've only got 4 Horker meat. Wow, buddy.
I'm not singing Ragnar the Red all night again for you, no matter how much you pay me.
Well, shit.
Okay, so we have to collect some Horker meat. I can't believe you made someone sing Ragnar the Red all night.
Hello there, lass.
Okay. What's on your
I can't
mind?
seem to sleep in this town. Those demons plague my dreams here more than anywhere else.
Ah, we got rid of him, baby. Now it's all you.
Until next time.
Alright. We will try to get more Horker in our travels. Alright. I have to kill the target. Who am I killing? I should have Horker meat at the in fact, yeah, let me try that. I can probably access storage from the tent when it loops around. Let's see. I got plenty of time.
Just stoked the fire. Take a seat and get the cold out.
I told you what you wanted to know. What else could you want?
Oh, I just have to murder a reckless
Look,
mage.
I'm busy. Please go bother somebody else.
Okay. Helps that you're really rude. I mean, it wouldn't have made any difference. I'd still kill you. But,
What a waste.
I'm sorry, that's hilarious. Approach the Night Mother. Okay, we're back in Dawnstar. I'm gonna see. I bet you if I. Wow, that's a big Khajiit. Okay. Bet you if I use Rain Shelter, I can. I can get some Horker meat. Let's see. Yeah, I've got 169 Horker meat. I think that'll do it. Oh, it made me crash. Well, it is a lot of Horker meat. Hey, beautiful. I bet you'd want a Horker sandwich. Yeah. Yeah, you'd like that? Okay. Let's try that again.
My days at the
shall
college
we?
are long behind me, but I prefer to stay close by.
Ah. Hello, sweet. Okay, you know you're not allowed to stand on the keyboard. Let's be civil, shall we? You're not allowed to sit on it either. Come on, little dude. Come on, little dude. Good boy. Yeah, hey, sweetheart. You are so cute. You are so cute. I wish you and I could run around Skyrim together. You would have a great time. Hello. To be fair, sometimes you're afraid of the water ball because it makes funny noises. Alright, let's try that again. Hello, love. We're gonna get some hooker and make a sandwich, okay? More sandwich? Extra stinky? Yeah? You are so cute. Okay. This time I'm gonna save. Oh! Crashed me again. Ooh, denied, kitty. Alright. I think we're gonna load some hooker meat. What do you say? Yeah? Yeah. Okay, I think I've figured out how to fix my... clipping. Okay, that's how you do it. Before I had things targeted, it was saving my target from game to game. Alright, if I need to unclip again, that's what we'll do. Right now, I am going to try to just load some horker, folks. Not 200 of them from inside a modded tent, but just load some horker. Horker faction. Oh wow, okay. Horker meat. Okay, I've got horker meat. We're going back to Thorin. Take 4. Oh, wait. No, 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 no. That's not what I want to do. Oh, man, stop. I didn't... You can't even escape out of breaking into someone's house. That isn't what I meant to do. Yeah, there's something wrong with Alexi's key. It doesn't give you the option to, like, pick yourself or not pick at times. I don't know why. But I believe we have established that my game and my version of Legacy of the Dragonborn is borked, and we don't know probably a combination of bugs in the new release and my janky list and updating stuff mid-game. Okay. Blame distributed mostly to me.
I'm sorry. You're back. Have to admit I'm surprised. I didn't really expect to see you again. Or rather hoped I wouldn't in Kaidan's case.
Here's the horker you asked for, and as promised, without a single stampede.
You actually did it. Was starting to worry I'd have to close down the sandwich business because I can't keep it in stock. You have my thanks.
Seeing as Kaidan helped track and hunt them, I think he deserves a sandwich.
You're right, and a deal is a deal. Here you go. If you get hungry for a sandwich again, Stop by any time. And yes, Kaidan too. But no more stampedes.
And yes, Kaidan too, like Toto too. Give Kaidan his sandwich. Come here, honey. You should have a sandwich.
My love.
I made you a sandwich. Here you go, Kaidan. A Horker sandwich made just for you.
For me? Oh, really now?
Really now. Wanted to give you a little treat and thank you for all you've done for me.
You didn't have to do that. Thank you.
You're welcome. You deserve it, Kaidan. Hope it tastes as good as it looks.
Just what I needed.
Yay! I gave Kaidan his sandwich. Alright. Off to speak to the Night Mother. Oh, the crow thing reminded me. Elder Scrolls Online, the expansion that has the crows, where you become crow friend.
Get
Hello?
that thing out of here!
What thing? Who runs Dawnstar? What?
That would be Skald
runs
the
the world?
Elder. He's been running
Skald!
Dawnstar ever since he was a boy. And he never lost that brat's attitude. Turned on the Empire first chance he got. Now we're all part of this rebellion.
Turn the sound up a little bit.
Mhm.
What is with your hair, son? Oh, it's up as high as we go. Hold on, I need to change my computer's sound. Okay. You're not seeing me open a suspicious rock. I hear the penguins from Madagascar in my head. You didn't see anything. Okay. Hello, dear lady.
Yet another child
So loud.
has prayed to their mother.
So sudden.
Speak with the grief-stricken Chev at the Wind Peak Inn here in Dawnstar. Accept his gold, then eliminate the target. Hail the listener. Hail Sithis.
Cicero is at your
Wow.
service, oh great and powerful listener.
Hello, sweetheart.
Humble Cicero lives to serve.
I wish your hair hadn't deserted you, but there you go. Oh, wow. A lot of stuff. Ooh, pretty little poison garden. Yeah, I guess I haven't been here since rebuilding it. Yeah, so apparently you can use the torture chamber to raise your skill, activate the Shrine of Sithis. Yeah, so you can use your destruction on the people in the torture chamber. Good for my vampire to know. Sewers here. This is a nice. This should be a secret exit. Yeah, cool.
That one.
And now they're just unnamed initiates, which is fine. Yeah. Okay. So let's check it out.
I'm feeling a bit thirst for a good.
I think I can use my. So destruction.
Feel right now.
Yep. There we go, folks. Anyway, you get the idea. You can use the torture victim to raise your melee and magic skills on. So PSA. Yeah, that's great for my that's great news for my vampire, who will now have a home here, here, and down here. I'll need something for closer to Markarth, but those are good once I've finished. And my vampire is going to go pretty quickly to Assassin's Guild. It's probably one of their first stops. Yep. What the hell's going on here? Dude. Hello? Hi. Okay. Nice seeing you, buddy.
I'm glad.
Wow, look, it's actually... Alright, back to Legacy the Dragonborn Museum. I'm going to turn a couple things in and do a round of crafting. And my inventory will stop screaming at me for 10 seconds when it attempts to load itself. Or 200 pieces of Horker. Gaze into the gaping maw of hell. Should probably fix that, but at this point it's kind of funny. I'm afraid of deleting the wrong add-on and then having to reinstall. I'm a coward. It's the same on my other... I did fix it on my other set. I checked. Oh, that's very unfortunate. My brain just said enter the Hall of Herpes. Yeah, that's not good. Don't call it the Hall of Herpes. Oh, in my brain it will forever be the Hall of Herpes, won't it? Oh, that is truly unfortunate. Okay, as you can see, these are really filling in. And this in particular is just stunning. I love these. Okay, looking good.
Someone was leaving trash
Reconstruct archaeological installation, gates of Froll.
Keep an ear open. And you'll hear him start.
Project is 10% complete. Well, this is going to take a while.
Incredible.
Okay. Pension of the Ancestor Moth. To be read by all novitiates at the temple. The Order of the Ancestor Moth is as ancient as it is noble. We nurture and celebrate our beloved ancestors whose spirits are manifest in the ancestor moths. Each moth carries the Furin, F-J-Y-R-O-N. Each moth carries the Furin of an ancestor spirit, loosely translated as the will to peace. Furin can be sung into the silk produced by the ancestor moths. Okay, so you're saying that dead ancestors have a will to peace. Alright, I don't know whose ancestors that were born here that is, but we'll see. When the silk is in turn spun into cloth and embroidered with the genealogy of the correct ancestor, clothing of wondrous power can be made. Adepts of our order are gifted with prescient powers. The wisdom of the ancestors can sing the future into the present. For this reason, our order and our order alone has been given the privilege to interpret the Elder Scrolls. These writings exceed even the gods, both Idra and Deidre. Such insight into the inner fabric of reality comes at a price. Each reading of the Elder Scrolls is more profound than the last. Each leaves the priest blind for longer and longer periods of time. Finally, the last reading achieves a near sublime understanding of that scroll's contents, but the priest is left permanently blinded to the light of this world. No longer can he read the scrolls. Again, he. This monastery is dedicated to the service of those noble members of our order. They now live out our lives with the ancestor moths that they so love. Their underground domains are well suited to the moths. They raise and nurture the fragile creatures, singing to them constantly. They harvest the silk and spin it into bolts of cloth. They weave the cloth, embroidering it with the genealogies and histories of the ancestors that spun the silk. This is their new life. As they tend the ancestor moths, so we tend the blind monks. While they toil in dark, we serve in the light. They need food and water, we provide. They need tools and furniture, we provide. They need secrecy and anonymity, we provide. They need purveyors to sell the fruit of their labors, we provide. At one time, we also provided protection. Many generations ago, Gudrun came to our temple. Newly blinded by visions of what was to be, she brought with her new teachings. The visions of the ancestors foresaw the need of the monks to defend themselves. They train and practice the teachings of Gudrun constantly. They are masters of the sword and no sword. Wait. They are masters of the sword of no sword, the axes of no axe. It just reminds me, there's the movie called Mystery Men, where they just had really, really lame superheroes with lame superpowers, and one of them was the Sphinx, who just tried to set, like, the way forward must also sometimes be the way back. It's like Mr. Furious, the other character's like, you're just saying things backwards and repeating it just to sound wise, aren't you? Maybe. Maybe not. That's a paraphrase. As a novitiate, you will learn the teachings of Gudrun. You will learn the way of the peaceful fist. You will learn to serve the blind monks. You will learn to provide. In time, you may attain the peace and insight of the ancestor moths. I'm not sure that's the way to peace so much as the way to, being a parasite? I mean, honestly, what good have the scrolls done? Okay. Racial phylogeny. Ooh, restoration of 47. Yeah, I'm like level 60, and I haven't had to heal myself that much, it would seem. Notes on Racial Phylogeny and Biology, 7th edition, by the Council of Healers, Imperial University. After much analysis of living specimens, the Council long ago determined that all races of elves and humans may mate with each other and bear fertile offspring. Generally, the offspring bear the racial traits of the mother, though some traces of the father's race may also be present. It's less clear whether the Argonians and Khajiit are interfertile, with both humans and elves, though there have been many reports throughout the eras of children from these unions, as well as stories of unions with Daedra. There have been no well-documented offspring. Khajiit differ from humans and elves not only in their skeletal and dermal physiology, the fur that covers their bodies. Why is fur in quotation marks? But in their metabolism and digestion as well. Argonians, like the Dreg, appear to be a semi-aquatic limnophilic. Ooh, limnophilic. Okay, I gotta look that one up. Lover of lakes. a limnophilic form of humans, though it's by no means clear whether the Argonians should be classified with drag, man, mare, or, in this author's opinion, certain free-dwelling lizards of Blackmarsh. Tree-dwelling lizards of Blackmarsh. The reproductive biology of orcs is at present not well understood, and the same is true of goblins, trolls, harpies, drag, chaichi, imga, various daedra, and many others. Certainly there have been cases of intercourse between these races, also in quotations. Okay, the intent is to be as racist as possible, I get that. Generally in the nature of rape or magical seduction, but there have been no documented cases of pregnancy. Still, the interfertility of these creatures and the civilized hominids has yet to be empirically established or refuted. Was this written by a Thalmor? Likely due to the deep cultural differences. Surely any normal Bosmer or Breton impregnated by an orc would keep that shame to herself. Okay? And there's no reason to suppose that an orc maiden impregnated by a human would not be likewise ostracized by her society. Regrettably, our oaths as healers keep us from forcing a couple to satisfy... Oh my god. Our oaths as healers, so it's an oath stopping you, not any deep internal revulsion, keep us from forcing a coupling to satisfy our scientific knowledge. We do know, however, that the Sloat of Thras are hermaphrodites in their youth, and later reabsorb their reproductive organs once they're old enough to move about on land. Wow, that's way more than I wanted to know about a Sloat. It can be safely assumed that they are not interfertile with men or mer. One might further wonder whether the proper classification of these same races, to use the imprecise but useful term, should be made from the assumption of a common heritage, and the differences between them have arisen from magical experimentation, the manipulation of these so-called earth bones, or from gradual changes from one generation to the next. Woo, earth bones, oh, fossils. Reality and other falsehoods. It is easy to confuse illusion and alteration. Both schools of magic attempt to create what is not there. The difference is in the rules of nature. Illusion is not bound by them, while alteration is. This may seem to indicate that alteration is the weaker of the two, but this is not true. Alteration creates a reality that is recognized by everyone. Illusion's reality is only in the mind of the caster and the target. To master alteration, first accept that reality is a falsehood. There is no such thing. Our reality is a perception of greater forces impressed upon us for their amusement. Sometimes I tab in and out because I forget to record. I check that the sound is good and I'm like, oh shit, did I hit record? And because I can end up like an hour later going, I did not. So I'm beginning to tab out of panic. It's like, did I leave the gas on? And then that leads to an Eddie Izzard joke because he's talking about squirrels being in trees, and then like one of them like sort of slowly cocking their head and going, "Did I leave the gas on? No, I'm a fucking squirrel." I am more of a goldfish that does not remember whether or not I hit the correct button. To master alteration, first accept that reality is a falsehood. There is no such thing. Our reality is a perception of greater forces impressed upon us for their amusement. Some say that these forces are the gods, others that they are... I think that should be others. Others that there are something beyond the gods. For the wizard, it doesn't really matter. What matters is the appeal couched in a manner that cannot be denied. It must be insistent without being insulting. To cast alteration spells is to convince a greater power that it will be easier to change reality as requested than to leave it alone. Do not assume that these forces are sentient. Our best guess is that they are like wind and water, persistent but not thoughtful. Just like directing the wind or water, diversions are easier than outright resistance. Express the spell as a subtle change and it is more likely to be successful. Okay, we're actually down to the R's, folks. That's kind of cool. I've gotten my inventory to a sane place where it will actually respond. Encyclopedia Britannica. That's so cool. Okay, it's a quest item, so I'm going to read it along with new notes from Kaidan. Cute pun is cute. Encyclopedia Britannica, The Gods, Volume 9. Okay, ask Cal Selmo about his entries in the Encyclopedia Britannica. Xerxes, god of ancestry and secretive knowledge. Once the scribe to Oriel, time dragon, see E.B. The Gods, Volume 1, and husband to Ogma. See, you know, it's weird. Like, there's Akatosh and there's Oriel. They're the same one, but Akatosh... I'm still tying it all together. Okay. Isn't Oriel Akatosh? Aren't they the same? Oriel Time Dragon, C.E.B. The Gods, Volume 1, and husband to Ogma, C.E.B. The Gods, Volume 5, who he allegedly created out of his favorite historical moment. I don't know what that means. Srib, one of the few known gods to have been recognized by the otherwise greater powered disdaining Dwemer race, Zrib required sacrifices in his name in order to obtain his favors. The form said favors took is as yet undiscovered. An altar to Zrib, littered with the bones of former sacrifices, sits atop a mountain in northeastern Skyrim. Scribbled into the margins here is the following. A Dwemer god. What kind of research went into the making of this ridiculous series? Kind reader, let me direct you to the legacy... Oops, sorry. Turn page. Legacy of Dwemer Paragons by Herminia Whippet. There you will discover the truth of who Zrib really was. Calselmo, Dwemer scholar. Ifre, Bosmer god of the forest or woodland, and the current time, or now, he supposedly nurtured... See, Ifre here is male? He supposedly nurtured mortal men. That's one of the ones that I assume is by lore female. Hold on. No, it's Jeffrey, right? Also, Ifre. Huh. Ifre is traditionally depicted as male, but in Bosmeri Ooze, a fable, Ifre is referred to as she, her pronouns. Okay. Ifre is a spirit. It technically doesn't have a sex. Whatever it chooses to show itself as. It just primarily chooses to present as male. Alright. I mean... The world's trying. He supposedly nurtured mortal men in Mer, the Bosmer particularly, by teaching them about the world, thus gaining the additional title of the storyteller. Ysmir, the Nordic aspect of the god Talos, said to have been able to hear the prophecy of the Greybeards. The knowledge of the prophecy gave him the countenance of a dragon. Or perhaps he was just eaten by one. Hard to say, really. Zet, Yokudin god of farming and agriculture. Apparently, he made the mistake of angering his father, the Yokudin version of an Allfather, which makes farming especially hard on Yokudins. Zenithar, one of the 9 divines, the god of commerce, work, merchants, and nobility. Okay, judging by the sense of humor and such, that's Legacy of the Dragonborn. Letter from Kaidan. Saleya, what you've accomplished, not many could. I want to congratulate you, give you the recognition you deserve. Yet now is still too soon. Losing the people you care about isn't easy. Despite my own opinions, I wasn't blind to how you felt about your little group. I'm no good at this, just wanted to say if you need a shoulder or an ear, I'm here for you. In the meantime, here's a little sweetness to soften your day. So, it's probably about, the little group is probably the Assassin's Guild turning into crispy critters. Saleya, I thought maybe these would come in handy, given you've been traveling a fair bit now. Not that I mind it, rather look forward to spending my days behind you. I mean, following you, as your shield. That's what I meant. Right. Okay. Okay. Some of those away. Yeah, see, I am seeing how inventory management is truly key. Okay. Most of what's left in my inventory is either from active quests or stuff I'm just gonna read. For this trip. Eventually I'll pull stuff out of the library. If it got shoved in there at some point. Okay. Alright, I tried out a bunch of new things on my new list and then I ended up yanking a lot of them straight back out. So the Dragonborn voiceover is gone. Okay. Dragonborn voiceover is gone. The book reading is gone. The gated. Let me see if I can speak to Orion now. What time is it? Yeah, whatever Gala or tour should be over now. Let's see if I can talk to him. The thing that made like the whole world level up with me was just, it was really weird. I probably didn't figure it out, but it wasn't contributing to my gameplay experience. So that's gone. I added a bunch of new vampire homes. So I'm getting also. I had to rerun like all my Dandalot and all my bash patches and. Oh wow! I don't have enough fragments. Woo! I wonder how often I can do this. Oh, okay, I can do all 3 projects at once. Oh no, but I don't have enough fragments.
Are you lugging all that shit around with you?
Look, man,
Maybe you could lighten the load.
I love my shit.
Sell some.
I resist your reality and substitute my own. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Goodbye, Guildmaster.
Doesn't have anything more. Looking good in here. The paintings still haven't really shown up, but the greenery is there, or the reddery at this point. The pinkery. As you can see, these are all slowly filling in. Paintings, tapestries, items, looking good.
You know I love the view.
Still don't know what the fuck that's supposed to be.
But I wouldn't mind if you turned around and let me see that beautiful smile of yours too sometime.
Ah, good. Well, where to begin? I know that I tend to expound upon things, but I'll try and be to the point for brevity's sake. If you'd like to know more about anything, just ask. Otherwise, I'll assume you know what I'm talking about. Now, I've done a good deal of research to confirm some theories, and from what I can tell, the amulet pieces and the shield both react with one another, because their connection to the covenant of Akatosh made with Alessia.
With you so far?
Queen Alessia's soul was bound to the Amulet of Kings in the Covenant and was captured within the gem upon her death.
Yikes.
Her soul must still be bound to the gem, even in a shattered state.
Holy crap.
The relics react to you because of your soul being directly bound to Akatosh as kin of the Dove, your own dragon soul. I believe that if we were to bring together enough relics that tie to the Covenant, we may be able to appeal to Akatosh to actually reform the amulet.
Okay, yeah, I just looked it up. Oriel is Akatosh, so I've essentially worshipped the same god. Okay. To what end?
Well, aside from restoring one of the most historically significant artifacts in Tamriel's history to its proper glory, the gem in the amulet served another purpose, which was to help reinforce the very nature of creation by powering the White Gold Tower. I would be very curious to know if restoring the stone would have any effect on the larger scheme of things. Now, as to the other figures involved, there is Raymond Cyrodiil, who had a rather mythological origin. The story states that his father, King Hrol, begot him in a union with the spirit of Saint Alessia upon the site of Sangretor, the Golden Hill. The spirit was the land itself, and Hrol placed the Chim El Abadal into the dirt, where his son was planted, and then he died. Raymond was then born from the soil and bore the gem upon his forehead.
The Chim El Adabal is the amulet stone, right?
Yes, that's right.
I see. Go on.
Then, of course, we have Tiberius Septim, who was a Dragonborn in the same way that you are, and who also carried the blood of the Alessian line. His connection to this is irrefutable, and would almost certainly resonate with the other relics in the same way.
So then we need something of Tiberius Septim's.
Precisely. During the Oblivion Crisis, Martin Septim gathered the blood from the armor of Tiberius Septim in a ritual to send the champion of Cyrodiil to Manca Cambrin's realm of Oblivion. After Martin's sacrifice, the armor was returned to Sangretor and placed back in Tiberius Septim's tomb. We need a part of that armor in order to prove my theory and proceed forward with reforming the amulet. Obviously, with the borders closed and a battle raging in the Pale Pass, you would never be able to sneak into Cyrodiil. I found some interesting clues in a variety of the relics I've gathered here within the museum, and my other references. The ancient Falmer utilized a form of transportation magic, and I had a theory that their cousins, the Aelids, may well have had a similar power. So I looked into it, and I've managed to uncover an Aeliad waystone, which seems to confirm my theory. I believe it may well send you to Sangretor. The way the stones apparently worked was that they would be worn, and that the person would be drawn to an Aeliad site near their blood-bound kin. It was a way for royalty to quickly summon their elite guard to them who were bound in blood. I believe that your dragon blood will draw you to Septim's grave, Sangretor. Simply wear the amulet and you will be transported there. Hopefully. To return, simply remove it.
To get a piece of armor and get back?
Yes, hopefully that will be the sum of it, but of course, do be on guard. There is no telling what may be lurking there. Be well, and return safely.
I've never done this, so... Okay.
Don't you expect me to eat all spiders' eggs?
Oh, you're here.
I'm not an ingredients tester.
I'm supposed to be able to talk to him about the book.
Ah, yes, that would be my personal sword. Idrisorn, meaning ancestral
I've heard the
edge.
Idrisorn story before.
What?
Is
Don't
this supposed
picture
to
me
be
as
like
the
story time
swashbuckling
with
type?
Patero and Orion?
I assure you, I am just as capable with the blade as I am with the book. I just don't often find much call to employ the former. And so it remains in a place of honor and remembrance for me.
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
Farewell, my friend.
Yeah, speak with Orion about the book you found. It seems like working on the library collection paid off. I should really talk to Orion about the book I found. It's not letting me. Okay, that's alright. Yeah, let's see what this is supposed to be. Ice flows solid. Legacy. Animated ice flows. Legacy of the Dragonborn patch. Okay. It's probably
Back's hurting a bit.
I've never been able to do the
Maybe
raised
you'll give me a
stones
massage
quests. You're supposed to like run around and do this stuff timed, but I can't do it, so I can't tell you about it. But there's a raised stone. There are several raised stones around the place. And if it comes up on the list that I need to finish it, or I can look up a guide. I don't really know. Okay, this is Souls time. I'm gonna hide story time. Story time with Orion is really just him reading a book out loud about his, time with Patero, which I believe I've already read out loud. But there's probably a... Wow, we're actually... Yeah, we're making good progress here. Okay, this is Creation Club. Find the Remnant Spy in front of Villamere Inn in Iverstead. Find the Remnant Spy in the Miners' Barracks in Parthweston. So Fije and Azadi, I believe, are linked. It's sort of a long quest. You can see why maybe I don't necessarily finish these quest lines, because I keep waiting for everything to loop around and loop around and loop around. And this is one of the first times I actually will have finished all of it. And the last time I did this was unmodded in the anniversary version of the game. So... Alright. So a lot of this, I don't know. Haven't done.
Yes?
The ravens take flight once more.
I understand. Anyway, it's done. Time to move on.
Read Siriar's note. Met a hunter from far out west, brought him a drink, and found out a wagon was headed up toward Skyrim along the southwestern border from Hammerfell. He should pass by Sunderstone Gorge on his way through. Not a lot of folks on that road these days. Still, he didn't say how many there were or what they looked like. We need to find out more before we know for sure it's Ismail. I'm gonna... Okay, buddy.
If the Forsworn are attacking my town,
Need something?
Oh, she's not dead. Okay. The ravens take flight once more.
Of course. Let's both get on with our lives now, hmm?
Read Jostla's note. Overheard that a Hammerfell noble from Sentinel would be crossing the border in the next few days and paid a hefty coin purse to the Thalmor to ensure safe passage. Said he was traveling by wagon all the way to Blacklight in Morrowind. It has to be Ismail, and if it is, Rakid is with him, and he's in trouble. Blacklight is a huge city, easy to hide in. If we don't find him before they make it to Blacklight, we may never see Rakid again. Okay. I'm gonna try fishing up the lucky hat. And I might as well go to Gehrman's Hall. Got a quest to head in there and, you know, grab a writ of sealing and re-kill a dude who committed patricide with his brothers Look how pretty. Oh, and it happens to be raining. I don't think I need it to rain because I'm just getting the lucky hat. I already have all of the
Seems the
all
heavens
of
are
the
opening up.
fish. Pretty. Oh, it's so beautiful. Really beautiful. Okay, there's Gehrman's Hall. I'm going to pick up the shrine and the shard I can see.
Is that mead you're carrying on in there?
Yay! Lucky fishing hat.
Okay.
Okay, that's it.
Bit of thirst for a good bit of ale right now.
I never did put the sky shards back in. I don't think I'm gonna. I do like the idea, but procedurally.
Why do you make that
Procedurally, I don't like it. Real high. Statue of Finister. And ancestor god of Somerset, Finaster taught his people to live long by using a shorter stride. I don't understand what that means. Faster regeneration when standing still, slower when moving. What? Explore new locations, find the standing stones of Skyrim, harvest the fruits of nature. Bretons are most deserving of my favor. That's just really random. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna hand this in before I do Gehrman's Hall.
Well met. I don't think they're hiring anyone.
Need something?
You're the fish you're after. I also found your lucky fishing hat.
You are like my brood to me.
Oh, I put
Here,
your hat on.
a token.
Thanks for the Argonian fishing rod and the coin. I put them to good use.
My thanks to you.
You think I'm ready for the next fishing challenge?
Nah, I don't think so.
Oh. I'll check with Virier then.
Of course.
Okay, so I need to continue with the Virier's stuff.
I'm feeling much better now, thanks to you.
I'm glad, Vegeta. Be well, sweetheart.
You have no idea what it's like to have everything, then watch it all disappear.
That's, inaccurate, but okay, sweetheart. Okay, Gray Cowl of Nocturnal, which always cracks me up because it just reminds me of my husband. He likes to wear it and then forget it's against the law and then is wondering why everybody's trying to kill him. Who's watching me? Who is seeing me? That's weird. Who's watching? Wow. Okay. I think it was Kaidan. But I don't want to get caught, so here we go. What is going on here? Okay.
Don't want to wake up whatever's in here.
Whatever's in here. Read. Letter to Gisli. Construction on the port east of Johanna has been approved and will begin once the transfer of land is official. The boy's consent should suffice, as the head of the Iceblade clan has long been absent, and the mother is taken ill per your brother's instructions. The deed is enclosed with this letter. Sending the boy to Riften before he's old enough to grasp what happened is a good idea. Not the orphanage, though. It's best he live in comfort lest he suspect our motives. Still, it's a dangerous gambit, made more complicated should the rightful heir return. Your brother would kill me for saying this, but if you have the chance, it might be worth selling the venture for the right price. This has been more trouble than it's worth. I mean Mercer. I don't know, every M to me is now Mercer. Mercer. Jerk. We hate him. Oh, hey. Okay. Oh, I have to steal the thing from Gisli no matter what. Alright. Oh. Sounds like a dragon to me. Oh my god. It's still back in the house.
I don't like the look of this.
What's the actual... Alright. Let's kill the dragon. That like there are never any dragons in Riften or Whiterun. I mean, you can just move there.
Not like this.
Oh, I hate this person so much. Could have done something about it, I suppose.
Sure.
Ooh, you're big. It's a little hard to sneak as the Dragonborn after you've killed a dragon in the city and everybody's staring at you.
I never would have.
Okay, let's try this again. This is weird. This quest marker is really off. Okay. If you hear those hawks, my husband was like, "Why are there fireworks in Solitude?" What? The hawks do sound like fireworks are constantly going off. I'm like, oh wow. Yeah, you are not wrong.
Come on in. We got warm food, warm drinks, warm beds.
Hello, I'm Gisli, but you can just call me Eric. Welcome to the center of the world. Or at least my brother Eriker's world.
Oh, I don't care, honey. I know what you people did in Johanna.
It would seem so.
The deed's not worth the trouble. I'll dispose of it for you.
Okay, you talked me into it.
Okay. Now, this is not one of my favorite quest lines. I did actually do all of this in Oblivion. I did the Spring Heel Jack. I did the Grey Fox. I really love the Thieves and Assassin Guild of Oblivion. I mean, just this is a pale comparison. But of course, the graphics here are better. But I don't see the point of doing all of this to get an item that if you wear it, people try to kill you. Strangers, final instructions. I don't believe it's final. You're good. For whatever reason, picking her pocket was not an option, so you found another way. Now you'll need to put those skills to the test and more. The Silver Drift Lair is a tomb that houses an ancient Nord clan. Near a large chest is a corpse with a lantern, its candle still burning. It holds a key. When you have the key, open the chest and you'll find a sword that can raise the dead. When you find it, bring it to the grave of the Grey Fox in Riften. It's a small, unmarked headstone on the east side of the cemetery. Complete the task, and maybe you'll even get to meet him. A stranger.
Need something? The dark shadows sometimes. How do you move about so silently?
Okay, back to Sanguine. I find this quest in general to be nice comedy relief. Hello, sweetheart. Hi, Graham. Oop, I have not prayed in a while. Praying. Ah, while we're at it, take a nap. It's gonna be a long, sanguine day. Sweetheart! Hello, babies. Love you guys. Where are you, honey? You are like the shadows. There you are. Hi. Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's probably been like 2 months since I used, what, the Malros's Codex? They're just a pain in the ass to get to. There's tools, Codex, study. Nice. 25 should get me skill boost. Yeah, okay. I have got to figure out ways to explore more of these. Oh, okay, let's see. Tool. See if I can add tools to it. I don't know if I've picked up more. Add items. Pickaxe. Okay, good.
I like it here.
Remanada. Chapter 1. Sancrator and the birth of Raman. And in those days the empire of the Cyrodiils was dead, save in memory only, and though war and slug famine? For through war and slug famine, and iniquitous, okay, whatever, slug famine, and iniquitous rulers, the west split from the east, and Colovia's estrangement lasted some 400 of years. And the earth was sick with this sundering. Once worthy western kings of Anvil and Sarshal, of Falkreath and Delodil, became through pride and habit as like fief barons and forgot covenant. In the heartland things were no better, as arcanists and false moth princes lay in drugged stupor or the studies of vileness, and no one sat on the throne of dusted generations. Snakes and the warnings of snakes went unheeded. Snakes and the warnings of snakes went unheeded, and the land bled with ghosts and deep-set holes into cold harbors. It is said that even the Kaim el Adabal, the amulet of the kings of glory, had been lost, and its people saw no reason to find it. And it was in this darkness that King Hrol sent out from the lands beyond Lost Twill with a sortie of questing knights numbered 18, less 1. So, 17? All of them western sons and daughters, for Hrol had seen in his visions the snakes to come, and sought to heal all the borders of his forebears. And to this host appeared at last a spirit, who resembled none other than El Estia, queen of ancient times, who bore in her left hand the dragon fire of the Akatosh, and in her right hand the jewels of the covenant, and on her breast a wound that split void into her mangled feet. Wow, this is a lot. And seeing El Estia and Kaim el Adabal, Hrol and his knights wailed and set to their knees and prayed for all things to become as right. Unto them the spirit said, I am the healer of all men and the mother of dragons, but as you have run so many times from me, so shall I run until you learn my pain, which renders you and all this land dead. And the spirit fled from them, and they split among hills and forests to find her, all grieving that they had become a villainous people. Hrol and his shield thane were the only ones to find her. And the king spoke to her, saying, I love you, sweet Aless, sweet wife of Shor and of Oriel and the sacred bull, and would render this land alive again, not through pain, but through a return to the dragon fires of covenant, to join east and west and throw off all ruin. And the shield thane bore witness to the spirit opening naked to his king, carving on a nearby rock the words, and Hrol did love unto a hillock, before dying in the sight of their union. Wow, what the fuck even is this? While the 15 other knights found King Hrol, so now 15. Okay. They saw him dead after his labors against a mound of mud, and they parted each in their way, and some went mad, and the two that returned to their homeland beyond Twill would say nothing of Hrol, and acted ashamed for him. But after 9 months, that mound of mud became as a small mountain, and there were whispers among the shepherds and bulls. The bulls were whispering. A small community of believers gathered around that growing hill during the days of its first churning, and they were the first to name it Golden Hill, Sancrator, and it was the shepherdess Sedvana who dared climb the hill when she first heard his cry, and at its peak she saw what it had yielded, an infant she named Raman, who was light of man. And in the child's forehead was the Kaim el Adabal, alive with the dragon fires of yore and divine promise, and none dared obstruct Sedvana when she climbed the steps of the white gold tower to place the babe Raman on his throne. where he spoke as an adult saying, "I am Cyrodiil Calm." Oh my god. Chapter 2, The Chevalier Renaud Blade of the Pig. Okay, wow, this is written while drunk. And in the days of interregnum, the Kaimel Adabal was lost again amid the petty wars of gone heathen kings. West and East, no union. This is very poetic, though. Then, and all the lands outside of them saw Cyrodiil as a nest of snake men and snakes, and for 4 more hundreds of years did the seat of Remon stay sundered, and only the machinations of a group of loyal knights keeping all the borders from throwing wide. These loyal knights did go by no name then, but were known by their eastern swords and painted eyes, and it was whispered that they were descended from the bodyguard of old Remon. One of their numbers, called the Chevalier Renaud, discovered the prowess of Kulikan, and then supported him toward the throne. Only later would it be revealed that Renaud did this thing to come closer to Talos, a non-storm crown. The glorious yet Emperor Tiber Septim, only later still that he was under instructions by a pig. Alright, this is a lot, folks. Long Glory was wife to all the knights of the Dragon Banner. I can't even. Who knew no other, and were brothers before, beyond many seas, and now were brothers under the law, named the Blade Surrender of Pale Pass. And having vampire blood, these brother knights lived for ages through, and passed Remon, and then kept guard over his ward, the coiled king Versidai Shai. The snake captain Vershu became Renaud, became the protector of the northern west when the black dart was hooked into Savrian Shorak. Here, torn pages indicate that the rest of this ancient book has been lost. Yeah, but what a ride, right? Disaster at Iamith by Lord Potreed, Chairman. Part 1. Preparations. The Emperor's plans for the invasion of Akavir were laid in the 270s when he began the conquest of the small island kingdoms that lie between Tamriel and Akavir. With the fall of Black Harbor in Easternret in 282, Uriel V was already looking ahead to the ultimate prize. He immediately ordered extensive renovations to the port, which would serve as the marshalling point for the invasion force and as the main supply source throughout the campaign. At this time, he began the construction of the many large ocean-going transports that would be needed for the final crossing to Akavir, in which the navy was previously deficient. Thus, it can be seen that the Emperor's preparations for the invasion were laid well in advance, before even the conquest of Esronieth was complete, and was not a sudden whim as some have charged. When Prince Bashalman yielded Esronieth to imperial authority in 284, the Emperor's full attention could be devoted to planning for the Akavir campaign. Naval expeditions were dispatched in 285 and 286 to scout the sea lanes and coastlands of Akavir, and various imperial intelligence agents, both magical and mundane, were employed to gather information. On the basis of all this information, the kingdom of Tsaichi and the southwest of Akavir was selected as the initial target for the invasion. Let me look up Tsaichi. I don't think I understand what or who the Tsaichi are. Vampiric, serpent-like humanoids. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so the potentate for Sudoshai was a Tsaichi. Okay. And the southwest of Akavir was selected as the initial target for this invasion. Meanwhile, the Emperor was gathering his expeditionary force. A new Far East fleet was created for the campaign, which for a time dwarfed the rest of the navy. It is said to be the most powerful fleet ever assembled in the history of Tamriel. The 5th, 7th, 10th, and 14th legions were selected for the initial landing, with the 9th and 17th to follow as reinforcements once the beachhead was secured. While this may seem to be seemed to the layman a relatively small fraction of the army's total manpower, it must be remembered that this expeditionary force would have to be maintained at the end of a long and tenuous supply line. In addition, the Emperor and the army command believed that the invasion would not be strongly opposed, at least at first. Perhaps most crucially, the Navy had only enough heavy transport capacity to move 4 legions at a time. It should be noted here that the Commission does not find fault with the Emperor's preparation for the invasion. Based on the information available prior to the invasion, which, while obviously deficient in hindsight, great effort had been made to accumulate, the Commission believes that the Emperor did not act recklessly or imprudently. Some have argued that the expeditionary force was too small. The Commission believes that, on the contrary, even if shipping could have been found to transport and supply more legions, an impossibility without crippling the trade of the entire empire, this would have merely added to the scale of the disaster. It would not have averted it. Neither could the rest of the empire be denuded of legions. The memory of the Cameron usurper was still fresh, and the Emperor believed, and this Commission agrees, that the security of the empire precluded a larger concentration of military force outside of Tamriel. If anything, the Commission believes that the expeditionary force was too large. Despite the creation of 2 new legions during his reign, and the recreation of the 5th, the loss of the expeditionary force left the empire in a dangerously weak position relative to the provinces, as the current situation makes all too clear. This suggests that the invasion of Akavir was beyond the empire's current strength. Even if the emperor could have fielded and maintained a larger force in Akavir, the empire may have disintegrated behind him. Part 2. The invasion of Akavir. The expeditionary force left Black Harbor on 23rd Rain's Hand, 288, and with fair weather landed in Akavir after 6 weeks at sea. The landing site was a small Chai-Chi port at the mouth of the large river, chosen for its proximity to Tamriel as well as its location in a fertile river valley, giving easy access to the interior as well as good foraging for the army. All went well at first. The Chai-Chi had abandoned the town when the expeditionary force approached, so they took possession of it and renamed it Septimia, the first colony of the new imperial province of Akavir. While the engineers fortified the town and expanded the port facilities to serve the Far East Fleet, the Emperor marched inland with 2 legions. The surrounding land was reported to be rich, well-watered fields, and meeting no resistance. The army took the next city upriver, also abandoned. This was refounded as Ionith, and the Emperor established his headquarters there, being much larger than Septimia and better located to dominate the surrounding countryside. The expeditionary force had yet to meet any real resistance, although the legions were constantly shadowed by mounted enemy patrols which prevented any but large scouting parties from leaving the main body of the army. One thing the Emperor sorely lacked was cavalry, due to the limited space in the transport fleet, although for the time being the battle mages made up for this with magical reconnaissance. The Emperor now sent out envoys to try to contact the Chai-Chi king or whoever ruled this land, but his messengers never returned. In retrospect, the Commission believes that valuable time was wasted in this effort while the army was stalled in Ionith, which could have been better spent in advancing quickly while the enemy was still, apparently, surprised by the invasion. However, the Emperor believed at the time that the Chai-Chi could be overawed by the Emperor's power, and he might win a province by negotiating with no need for serious fighting. Meanwhile, the 4 legions were busy building a road between Septimia and Ionith, setting up fortified guard posts along the river and fortifying both cities' defenses, activities which would serve them well later. Due to their lack of cavalry, scouting was limited, and communication between the 2 cities constantly threatened by enemy raiders, with which the legions were still unable to come to grips. The original plan had been to bring the 2 reinforcing legions across as soon as the initial landing had secured a port, but the fateful decision was now taken to delay their arrival, and instead began using the fleet to transport colonists. The Emperor and the Council agreed that, due to the complete abandonment of the conquered Arab area by its native population, colonists were needed to work the field so that the expeditionary force would not have to rely entirely on the fleet for supplies. In addition, unrest had broken out in Inslea, athwart the supply route to Akavir, and the Council believed the 9th and 17th Legions would be better used in repacifying those territories and securing the expeditionary force's supply lines. The civilian colonists and their supplies began arriving in Septimia in mid-Hearthfire. Cavalry mounts were also brought over at this time, and the raids on the 2 imperial colonies subsequently fell off. Tsai emissaries also finally arrived in Ionith, purportedly to begin peace negotiations, and the expeditionary force settled in for what was expected to be a quiet winter. At this time, the council urged the emperor to return to Tamriel with the fleet, to deal with many pressing matters of the empire while the army was in winter quarters, but the emperor decided that it would be best to remain in Akavir. This turned out to be fortunate because a large portion of the fleet, including the emperor's flagship, was destroyed by an early winter storm during the homeward voyage. The winter storm season of 288-289 was unusually prolonged and exceptionally severe, and prevented the fleet from returning to Akavir as planned with additional supplies. This was reported to the Emperor via battle mage, and it was agreed that the expeditionary force could survive on what supplies it had on hand until the spring. Part 3. The destruction of the expeditionary force. The winter weather in Akavir was also much more severe than expected. Due to the supply problems and the addition of thousands of civilians, the expeditionary force was on tight rations. To make matters worse, the Tsai raiders returned in force and harried any foraging and scouting parties outside of the walls of the two cities. Several forts in the road between Septimia and Ionith were captured during the blizzards, and the rest had to be abandoned as untenable. As a result, communication between the two cities had to be conducted entirely by magical means, a continuing strain on the Legion's battle mages. On Fifth Sun's dawn, a large entourage of Tsai arrived at Ionith, claiming to bring a peace offer from the Tsai king. That night, these treacherous envoys murdered the guards at one of the city gates and led in a strong party of their comrades who were waiting outside the city walls. Their clear intention was to assassinate the emperor, foiled only by the vigilance and courage of troopers of the 10th who were guarding his palace. Once the alarm was raised, the Tsai inside the city were hunted down and killed to the last man. Needless to say, this was the end of negotiations between the emperor and the Tsai. The arrival of spring only brought worse troubles. Instead of the expected spring rains, a hot, dry wind began to blow from the east, continuing with varying strength through the entire summer. Crops failed, and even the river, which in the previous year had been navigable by small boats far upstream of Ionith, was completely dried up by sun's height. It is unknown if this was due to a previously unknown weather pattern unique to Akavir, or if the Tsai manipulated the weather through magical means. The Commission leans toward the former conclusion, as there's no direct evidence of the Tsai possessing such fearsome arcane power. The latter possibility cannot be entirely ruled out.